Scroll and Sword, welcome back. I am excited to jump into the book of Obadiah. When is the last time you heard somebody preach on the book of Obadiah? It's the shortest book in your Bible. We're going to be really focusing, it's going to be focusing on the whole thing because it's one chapter, but I really want to look at verses 15 through 21 as we begin. Like I said, this is the shortest book in the Old Testament, but it carries a massive theological punch. The prophet speaks judgment over Edom, the descendants of Esau, because they stood proud while Judah suffered. They watched Jerusalem's disaster. They gloated over their brother's collapse. They even helped the enemy. But Obadiah is not only about Edom. It becomes a window into the day of the Lord, when God judges pride, vindicates his people, and establishes his kingdom. And Obadiah looks like a prophecy against one nation, but then the vision, the scope gets larger. The day of the Lord is near upon all the nations. That's what Obadiah said. That's the surprise. That's the shocking thing. Edom's judgment becomes a preview of God's final reckoning with every power that opposes him. In Obadiah, verse 15, the prophet says that the day of the Lord is near upon all nations. What begins with Edom does not end with Edom, because God's justice is never trapped inside of one border. Local judgment really reveals global reality. And I love this. The Hebrew word for day, we see this day throughout the entire Old Testament. We see it in the book of Genesis, chapters 1, 2, and 3. It's the word in Hebrew, yom. It carries more than a date on a calendar. It can describe a decisive moment of divine action. The day of the Lord is when God steps into history and makes pride answer for what it thought it escaped. God has a day for what people thought they got away with. Scholars like Max Rogland explains that the day of the Lord includes judgment, vindication, renewal, and the establishment of God's rule on earth. This is not just punishment. It is God setting the moral universe back under his throne. Judgment is God putting the world back in order. Remember, all the way back to Genesis, it was chaos, and then God created order out of the chaos. That's what the day of the Lord is going to be. In our culture, it wants justice without judgment. It wants restoration without reckoning, and healing without anyone ever answering for evil. And Obadiah says God's kingdom does not ignore evil. It confronts it, it exposes it, and ends its reign. Mercy does not mean God winks at wickedness. Obadiah says, as you have done, it shall be done to you. And Edom's violence returns on its own head because God's justice makes arrogance reap what it planted. Like pride eventually meets its harvest. That's just the way of the world. And the prophecy moves from Edom's downfall to Mount Zion's deliverance and the kingdom belonging to the Lord. Like God does not only judge what is wrong, he restores what belongs to him. God's judgment makes room for restoration. And the final line of Obadiah says, the kingdom shall be the Lord's. The day of the Lord does not end with chaos. It ends with God's reign made undeniable. It's the last word is kingdom. And we live in a world where evil often looks super organized, really, highly funded and defended and untouchable. But Obadiah tells the saints not to confuse delay with defeat, because God still has a day. He still has a day, and don't mistake patience for absence, because the day of the Lord means history is not morally random. Edom will answer. The nations will answer. Evil will answer, and the kingdom will belong to the Lord. So don't let the arrogance of the moment make you forget the certainty of the day of the Lord. Love y'all. See you in the discussion room.